Ms. Walsh, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to
the
the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. School committee student reports. We have no students here this evening. School committee chair report. I have nothing to report at this time. Resource committee, Mr. Stevens.
Resource Committee, we held a brief meeting this afternoon, and we discussed we approved the meeting of February 2nd minutes. We discussed grants and donations and some school choice requests, line item transfer. One of the school choice requests we looked at was helping students with the AP tests, and that's something that'll be coming. We did vote on that to help fund students, and that'll be coming up probably next meeting. Very pleased with that.
If I might ask,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens, and to the administration, do we have any idea, any sense of how many we're talking about? How many students that may have difficulty meeting that financial burden?
Well,
if you will?
Principal Roach came to us, and I think there are 500, I think it was 540.
504.
Well,
500.
tests. So students take multiple tests, but many students have a challenge paying for one in addition to the multiple tests. And the state grant that used to provide support has disappeared. So the request from Principal Roach was to fill that gap this year. So we'll be bringing that request for about $27,000 to the next school committee meeting.
Has the legislative aspect of it been exhausted?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
not exhausted, it's still in the,
well,
it's got to go through the.
Part of this
process.
budget, that's part of this
Yeah.
budget
but the
now.
grant that has paid for it previously is eliminated.
Well, that's, yeah.
That's
From the
eliminated.
president's budget, but
Oh,
it still
I see.
has,
Okay.
No, the grant, there was a separate grant that paid for the AP subsidy, that's been eliminated at every level. Now, there's talk about having the opportunity to fund this through the new Title IV,
right.
which is under the president's,
That's
the
the
new
one I was
federal
talking
budget.
about.
Okay.
Right, but that is eliminated from the president's budget. So
I-
that still has to go through the process.
I would really ask that we have that data before, because I think we should, I really
Well,
want to look at
the
helping
way we
out in
left
some
it
way.
today is, we're putting these funds as a place mark,
Yeah.
and there are a number of initiatives in progress, even going to private sector funders to try to
Good.
do this. But
Good.
the reason that we wanted to put it in a place mark is that no one, has the idea that they might not be able to take the test. And if I may, I shared with the committee today that this has a whole new layer of importance, because this number of students taking the AP test is part of the new accountability system. So we finally, and here's where coincidence is ironic, we finally get this into the accountability system because we're doing so well at it, and they cut the funding to support students to take that test. So if we have 520 kids taking AP tests, and if we don't do something to help it make it financially feasible, and that number goes down to 300 kids taking it, we will be penalized in the accountability system for something we have no control over. So what we're trying to do is put a fail-safe in there, and at the time, and even Jeremy was saying that he and his staff will be looking for outside funders.
So that 2798 would be a placeholder, and everything we could get would be then taken off that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. School building needs, Mr. Stevens again.
Yes, okay, school building needs that we met for quite a while. We talked health and safety report. We talked about the new sign for South Marquee for South Street School, which we have recommended that be purchased. We talked about the lead program that's taking place. We also talked about our custodial coverage in the buildings. We're getting a new vehicle with a plow that'll be coming soon. We also talked about the seating at Memorial Middle School. in the auditorium. We talked about the solar program at Rheingold is up and running, and there will be a dedication to that April 5th, I believe, at 9 o'clock. And Memorial is almost ready to go.
Wow.
Great. Any questions from the committee? Moving on, Ms. Cragan, school policy.
We will be meeting next Thursday. I just went over all the different items with Patty Pickard, so those will be posted next Tuesday. And we are meeting 3:30 at Central Office, 3rd floor, South Street School, 3:30 Thursday, March 30th.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none. Student support, Ms. LaBelle Pierce.
We met tonight. We heard from Jerry Beck and brainstormed ways to work with him and his art program. The Visionary School is the art program, but it's all of those projects. So we are looking maybe at the possibility of something in the fall with him. And we looked at the new website design. The Fitchburg Public Schools have redesigned their website, and we were looking at the various links and talking about the content that's on that. And we got a really great overview from Pam Rivers about the current prevention programs and drug intervention programs that the Fitchburg Public Schools operate at all levels of our school, so elementary, middle, and high school. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any questions from the committee? Thank you, Ms. Pierce. School personnel, that would be me. We still have the nutrition group is still pending, correct? Mr. Jogler? Yes. So we'll continue to chip away at that. Executive committee, I have nothing to report. And again, no student reports. The approval of the minutes from the previous school committee meeting, of the minutes from the school committee meeting, March 6, 2017. Do I hear a
Make the
motion?
motion?
Motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, it is unanimous. There is no need for executive session. Communications, Ms. Cragan, if you would. Yep.
Thank you. So something that you may or may not have read about in the newspapers is that UMass Memorial down in Worcester is planning to close their 8 East wing. That is the lockdown ward with psychiatric services. Those services are unique. They are claiming that these services will be provided by Clinton and Devens, and those are not equivalent. 8 East does say they will take people as young as 16, but they seldom do. However, this affects Fitchburg and Fitchburg families because we have some students whose families are in great need. So what I'm planning to do for our next school committee meeting is to craft a letter that we can participate in, saying that we absolutely disapprove of this decision by UMass Memorial, and this is not in the best interest of our community, and there is no way that equivalent services are being met by these other institutions. I am working with Senator Jen Flanagan on this. I am also working with almost all the districts that she works with as well. So that is that.
Thank you.
I had another in a complete change of theme. So my writing partner Jeff Van Amberg and I are doing another production of WCV Radio for Your Eyes. This is a live comedy show set in a mock radio station at Zeta's Restaurant, Saturday, April 1st. So that is also the day of our Title I fair at South Street School, so it's a long day, but it'll be awesome if folks can come. This is going to be suggested donation $10, but pay what you can. Kids 18 and under are free, and this will benefit Fitchburg Public Schools' 8th grade field trip to Washington, D.C. We will be helping students who might need assistance with their funding, and also just to make sure everyone has a little bit of spending money, because to get all the way there and maybe not to buy a postcard just breaks our heart. So I have tickets. Talk to me afterwards, anyone in the room as well. So, thank you.
Ms. Cragan, question? Is our audience out there listening? Has anybody wanted to send donations to help support our
Yes.
students going to Washington? Where
We-
could they send those donations?
Thank you. They can send those donations to, they can send them directly to central office, but a check should be made out to the Longsyo PTO. They're the ones overseeing the money side of the DC trip. And donations can be sent, if they're sent to South Street School 376 South Street, that'll get there, or dropped off at Longsyo School as well. And so if anyone wants tickets and wants to write a check out in advance, we're happy to take it and add it up.
Questions?
And Juana and
Yeah.
Nate have seen this, so they enjoyed it. Thank you.
Great. Any questions? Superintendent, you want to move on to communications?
Yep. First communication is just a reminder to everybody out there of the gala. The tickets went out, most of the tickets went out, most of the cards about tickets went out last week. There'll be another 200 going out this week. Things are really coming along very, very well. It'll prove to be a wonderful night. So it's the third annual gala. The tickets are $50 per person, and that's for an evening of entertainment and also a wonderful dinner. And of the $50, $30 goes towards after-school programs, or this year to help fund Footsteps to Brilliance to purchase devices for students to use. So just a reminder out there, we'll mention it at every meeting. You should start seeing advertising out there, but the Fitchburg Public School Gala. May 6th, Saturday, May 6th, from 5:30 to 9:30, and it's at the high school, and we totally transformed the cafeteria into quite an event area. If I may, Mayor, we have Martha Clark from Rheingold, and we have two people who are part of the donation, and if we could move that on the agenda to now.
Sure. Sure.
That would help. So we get lots of donations, but we don't always have the people come. So this is a great opportunity, and this is a name I think we've seen before. Other donations have come our way. And this donation is from Roberto Cepedes and the Crossroads Community Church. And it's for a number of things, for carpet tiles for $2,500, 2 countertops, $1,000, paint $600, cabinets $600. And this is part of a renovation that's taking place at the Rheingold Library.
Wow.
And then out in the playground, 2 basketball hoops for $800, and then more paint to do ground art. And that is $350, and that's for a total of $5,850, and a lot of elbow grease. So I want to personally thank you for coming tonight and give you an opportunity, since you came all the way here, to maybe come up and say a few words about your donation and your work with Rheingold and Martha, if you'd like to come up too.
So Roberto and I met this past summer, and Adam Renda had some work done at Crocker, and said, Martha, if Roberto ever comes to you, just say yes. So I sought him out at the Footprints to Brilliance event this summer, and we started talking, and we first talked about the lockers. We have some old, long lockers in between the art room and one of the classrooms, and they're just gray and dingy. So we had talked about painting those to look like book spines. So we talked about that for the summer, but it just was too soon. So he said, hey, what about May? Because we have our big project in May. So as we talked about May, then we added the playground, and to do much like Crocker, have games and all sorts of things painted on the playground. And then one thing that is near and dear to us is our library. And we have classroom libraries, a lot of books up in classroom libraries, but our library needs a facelift. It desperately needs a facelift. So they came in, and we've worked together, and we meet a lot, and we talk a lot, and we're really excited about this, to make our library look beautiful with a mural on the wall and new carpet and countertops for the computers, and to really try to bring us into the 21st century.
Great. Well, thank you. You want to say a few words about
Sure.
your interest in
Essentially-
your work with us? Because I know everyone saw pictures of what your group did at Crocker last year. It's fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Essentially, we just try to bring hope and encouragement to the city. Anything that we could do to bring people together and make Fitchburg a better place to live and have fun, get people out of their homes and engaging with one another. That's our goal, and we love what we can do. We absolutely love what we can do. We love what we can do for our kids, for any handicap or elderly. We've done much more than just schools, as you probably know.
Yeah.
But anything that we can do to get people out. So I challenge each and every one of you here on May 13th. Come out, help us with some of that elbow grease.
It's Roberto, thank you so much. The Crossroads Community Church is truly a community church. Pastor Tomes, Brian Tomes, is just a wonderful partner in the community, and we couldn't be happier. And we tap into the resources, you folks, and that's the important. The remarkable thing is that he can marshal a number of people that come out.
He's a great leader.
Yeah,
I've got a great mentor.
right. And we couldn't be happier. And we thank him and thank the church, and you as well, and you as well.
Thank you. And we're one of, 31 projects you're doing on that day?
Our goal is
I
31.
just gave him the 32nd one. I just Cogsall Park. That's right. We're
here
going to
to
be
serve, Mr. Mayor.
contacting you.
We're here to serve.
You might want to leave while you're still,
Yeah.
it's a dangerous place.
Honestly, the beauty of it is we aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So we'll be here for more projects and anything that, like I said, anything that we can do to make Fitchburg a better place and get that pride back up where it needs to be.
We're also joined by a principal from, is it Air or Shirley?
Air Shirley.
Air Shirley. Roberta Barati Akey, principal at what school, Roberta?
Air Shirley Regional Middle School.
There you go. Thank you for coming in tonight, joining us. Thank you both as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to know, you said you were going to work on May 13th. What time are you starting, in case people wanted to join you?
Well, since you asked, we will be starting on April 29th with
April
the
29th.
purge and the replacement of the carpet.
All right.
And we'll be working through the day. It's a 4-phase project, specifically on the library and the lockers. And then we'll spend time putting the finishing touches on May 13th, the last roll of paint and whatnot. So,
All right.
8 a.m. sharp.
Okay.
You just lost one contributor.
Set your coffee pot for 7. You'll be fine.
Ms. Craig, yes.
Just a comment. I volunteer at Rheingold quite often, bringing pets into the school, which I think kids really like. And we are meeting currently in the library. I volunteered at Rheingold for 6, 7, many years, and I can't tell you how grateful I am that when I came across this in my packet, I just and you do something called We Love Our City campaign held annually. So this is the first time I'm hearing of We Love Our City campaign.
I can give you a little bit of the history if you'd like. In 2010, Pastor Brian engaged the local congregates, which at the time was around 100 people. And we just wanted to do random acts of service and love throughout the city. And initially it was called Project Cleanup. The reason is we started off with brooms and rakes and just cleaning local lots and streets. But as the church grew and the momentum grew, a lot of people with specific skill sets, electricians, landscapers, masons, carpenters, people with a construction background, they began to get excited about it, and our projects have evolved from anything from serving some local schools like Longsjo and Crocker to helping our handicap throughout the North of Maine neighborhood. We've got some great partnerships. The mayor, which I'm going to put a quick plug in. I hope he lets me interview him so we can get about 700 people out on May 13th.
Anytime.
That'd be fantastic.
Absolutely.
We've got about 40-something thousand people to inspire, so
Yeah, that's right.
as many as possible. It really excites the people the day of. What we've got to find a way to do is encourage them to maintain that excitement throughout the year. So hopefully there was one year where we actually had 2 projects. We took down Fantasia Park over off of Winoozanak and did some boarding up of some homes as well. But our goal is to let people know that Fitchburg is awesome.
Wonderful.
So come out, help, take some pride.
Here.
Great. Very nice.
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
It's,
Yes, Peter.
I'm planning on being there because Rheingold's dear to me. It's where
Excellent.
I started teaching there the first year it was open, assistant principal for a number of years.
Yeah.
Very involved. The library was my pet project.
Okay.
Tried to do as much as I could for it. And people for Rheingold have always turned out for volunteering. We're the only school, Rheingold is the only school to have a wiring day where we wired the whole building for the internet, computers, and we did a lot. The volunteers have always done a lot for Rheingold, so I expect you're going to have a good turnout.
Well, I look forward to you guys championing and cheerleading as well.
Absolutely.
If you like, since you all have pens, you can write this down. It's Crossroads Connects /WeLock, and you can sign right up. We'll take care of the rest from there.
I'll show up, I'll be there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, folks, thanks.
/
Yes,
Yeah.
Jean, you had your hand up?
So, I mean, I've seen evidence of your work around, around the city, and I haven't actually been a volunteer in any of it before, but I'd like to be a part of this. But do you have kids that are showing up too? Is it all adults?
yeah.
That,
Well, yeah, what we try to do is have a variety of projects. You'll see us throughout the parks too, raking and cleaning, and that's what we call our family-friendly projects, where anyone over the age of 5 can participate with their parents and whatnot. So yes, we engage the entire family.
And you're going to be in how many places on that day?
Our goal is 32 now, Mr. Mayor. Is that it?
yeah, that's right, 32.
Our goal
right,
is
yeah.
32 projects according to the boss.
That's impressive. That's
Thank
great.
you.
So if people come, should they bring their own tools, or?
The beautiful thing is we've got great partners in the Reimagine team.
Oh, okay.
And what they created was a lending library throughout. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you don't have tools, you can go down with your library card and get yourself a rake or a broom or a paintbrush, and you'll be ready to go.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mr. Stevens will get an alarm clock from me.
I'll bring you
Take
coffee,
care of that
Pete.
for you. Thanks so much. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
We get great donations like this, and we don't often get to see who the people are and the organizations, so I appreciate
It's
everybody
always
coming.
nice when they come in.
Great.
So an update, we're trying to go through, we've gone through and given you an update on what the schools are all doing, and Jill is here with her team to talk to you a little bit about what's been happening on food service with Sodexo and their team.
Show the facts, take a couple of pictures and I'm done.
So I am going to apologize. We do have a PowerPoint for you. But, yeah, we have a new format that we wanted to test out with you to give updates. It's very brief and to the point. And I would like feedback at the end if you like the way that we do it. So Dave's going to get the projector set up, hopefully. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is utilizing new technology. So this is a new format that we heard about and decided it would be a great place to utilize it for the school committee presentations. So for those of you that do not know, this is Brianne. She is our new dietitian. She started in October, and she's been extremely busy. She's met a few times with some students up at the high school, has done health fairs. I think the Fitchburg High School health fair was like your second day.
Second day, yeah.
So she's been, she hit the ground running. So what you have in front of you is a timeline, and it shows you all the different things that we've done this year, and we will continue to add to that so that when we come back next year at the start of the school year, we'll have from the end of March to September or October, whenever we come back. Cold computer, huh?
Jill, is there any significance to the red or the blue flag?
I'm glad you asked that. There is. So we picked four topics to speak on. And those red flags actually have pictures associated with them. So we have very specific topics we're going to talk about, and, you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words, so.
It's really probably gray, not blue here, right?
No, it absolutely is not blue.
It's gray. It's gray and red.
And the fact that blue, Dave has a blue shirt on, I don't know what he's thinking.
So,
Okay,
I need to sit here. So,
so I think you're up first.
I'm up first. So we were going to just talk briefly about a couple of things. These are, as Jill had mentioned, a lot of the different things we've done. I was going to talk briefly, because it's coming up, our summer program from last year. We served about 13,000 meals a day throughout the summer, breakfast and lunch combined, up 14% from the summer before. This is some pictures of the meals we're creating. We actually overflow into the cafeteria up at Fitchburg High, where we're creating these meals each day, up 14% for last summer, hoping to expand that even more. We're trying to touch base with the library to start a program there. We're expanding into other cities. We outside of Fitchburg now, word is getting out there that our summer program is great. So Clinton, Boys and Girls Club in Leominster, possibly Gardner, and any site in Fitchburg that has any kind of organized activity going on, we are ready to serve a meal at. So it's coming up. Anyone knows of anything, contact Jill or myself, and we will be able to provide meals. Folks can advertise it if they have a program. Meals are free, breakfast and lunch if they like.
Yeah, our most difficult challenge is getting the kids. The meals we can handle. So if you have kids somewhere and you want us to feed them, we'll be happy to do that. So the next one.
Next one, we were going to talk about Food for Friends.
Yes. So we started a new program this year. We piloted it at Crocker Elementary School. It actually, it came about because we were looking for, to get another Fuel Up to Play grant there and trying to figure out what we were going to do. I think we've had Fuel Up to Play there for 8 years, so we're kind of running out of ideas. But we wanted to do something that would help with expanding their food pantry. So the idea we came up with was a way that we could utilize leftovers from the cafeteria to actually send home with the kids. And we really wanted to look at being able to do perishable foods, which we've never done in the past. We have Kara, who sends home the backpacks every Friday. And one of the things we tend to have a lot of leftover is fruit and milk. So trying to figure out a way to be able to send milk home for the kids for the weekend, and just anything else that was left from breakfast or lunch. So we decided to come up with a program that was a donation program that the kids would be involved with. So the health teacher over there actually worked with us to create a flyer for the kids, and she went out and she talked to every single one of her health classes. So the way the program works is we have a big barrel, like it's a cooler barrel, that goes out into the cafeteria at lunchtime and has signage on it. It shows the kids exactly what they can put into this barrel. So it has to be something that's wrapped, or it has to be a fresh fruit that we can wash. So we'll take like full cartons of milk or apples, oranges, whatever. It goes into this barrel that has ice packs in it. In between each lunch, the cafeteria staff pulls it back into the cafeteria, and they wash the fruit, and they make sure everything that needs to be put in the refrigerator gets put in the refrigerator. We're actually able to buy a industrial refrigerator with money from the grant. So we've been doing this since early September. My plan was always to move it forward, and yeah, actually one of the most important things, we bought insulated bags for the kids to take the food home in. So on Friday, when Kara brings the food packs around, the kids actually also get an insulated bag also. And we will start with ice packs when the weather gets a little warmer. So they get it right on the way out of school. They have a 3-hour window, 2-3-hour window that they can either consume it. There's disclaimers in each bag. And they're able to take it on the bus with them. It looks like a lunchbox. And it says nutrition services on it. So we also generate a lot of leftover food that the kids won't take home. So at Crocker, it tended to be a lot of fruits. So the manager at Crocker also reached out to some other agencies to see if they would be willing to take some of the leftover food. They are working with Battered Women's Shelter, the Mock at Green Acres, and I think the Veterans Hospice Group. So she sends them cases of oranges and stuff at the end of the week. They'll come in a couple of times, pick up whatever she has. So Crocker was doing so well that we decided to move it forward. So Memorial started back, I think, probably almost a month ago that Memorial started. So now Memorial is doing the same thing. They do it every day, and they have students that have been designated as needy by the guidance counselors, and they come at the end of the school day, pick up the stuff, and take it home on the bus. They'll give a bag to anybody who comes and asks for it. Plus, they have a list of people that they do on a regular basis. They've also reached out to families. So it's going very well at Memorial. We were doing some to the Boys and Girls Club, but now they've kind of said we have enough food. So now Memorial is getting ready to help out with hospice and the Battered Women's Shelter also. So we provided them with a cooler and the bags, so it works the same way. We're very specific. Our staff at the schools takes care of all the food safety part until it gets into the refrigerated unit and into the bags. So we take all the food back, we wash it, we put it in the refrigeration, we make sure the temperatures are right, we make sure if anything's out of date, it gets tossed out. So working well at Memorial. We just started today at Longsjo. Today was our first day at Longsjo today. So they're going to be doing a very similar 2 to 3 times a week. The one thing I need is somebody at the school who's willing to champion it. My staff will do the food safety part, but we need somebody actually at the school. So far we've had, at Crocker, the parent liaison championed it, and at Memorial we have the guidance and the nurse, and we have a guidance counselor at Longsjo. So we're hoping to actually expand it out to every school. So not only does it feed people that need the food, but it's also cutting back on our food waste, which the Board of Health has been kind of getting on us a little bit. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. So it's really been a great program. So.
How does this go, last but not least?
No, it's not you yet.
Not me yet?
Quick.
Not me.
Jill?
Oh,
Quick, Jill, quick. The summer meals program is free?
Yes.
Is it breakfast and lunch?
Some sites we do breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
Most of them we're doing breakfast.
Most of them do breakfast and lunch. The only thing that would stop us from doing breakfast if the specific site didn't have a need for it. If they want it, we'll do it.
Okay. I'm thinking, the CAPS program, we're running a summer program up there. And I don't
Up
know.
at the high school?
At the CAPS.
Which one?
That's, it's in Westminster,
Okay.
right off Route 2.
Okay.
Yeah. It's called Sonoma Square. That's where the school is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Shoot Dave an email. He'll get you all set up.
okay, I will check on that.
Although
this-
will Westminster qualify for?
I'd have to look at the.
Yeah. We'll
assuming
have to
it's-
look to
assuming it
see.
qualifies.
They most likely.
Yeah, well, it's demographics by the different cities. Fitchburg qualifies
Yeah.
because of all the schools, but,
We
so we have
send
to,
50% of our kids.
you pick them up here?
No, it's a separate school. They're
Oh, okay.
part of the collaborative.
All right, well, we can talk about that.
Yeah, okay, okay.
So very briefly, vending machine, big deal. Well, it is kind of a big deal. First of its kind on the East Coast. We are able to serve a full reimbursable meal out of the vending machine at Goodrich Academy. We were having an issue with accountability, so we developed this, worked with a vending company, came up with a technology where students literally enter their 4-digit PIN number as if they were in one of our cafeterias. It dispenses a meal that meets the reimbursable requirements. They receive their meal. With any reimbursable program, there's a lot of accountability, and this covers us for that accountability, ensuring one meal is served. So
I missed that.
we rolled it out in, we purchased the machine late summer. As with any new system, we hit some unexpected roadblocks.
It like dispenses like
Finding a
fribbles out of the Star Trek.
finding a container that worked was the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Rolled it out starting December, and it's been working very well ever since. So it's there at Goodrich on the first floor. Check it out anytime.
Do I need a pin or?
Need a pen. There are some.
Unfortunately, you can't get it.
I know.
Somebody else have a question?
Ms. Bedolla.
So what kind of meals would I be, would
We
the student be able to?
they're able to get. We do a yogurt meal every day. Yogurt, fruit, granola, things like that. A sandwich, fresh made sandwich with assorted sides, or a salad entree, like a buffalo chicken salad with the assorted sides. And each meal pack meets the requirement for a reimbursable meal. They also have the ability to take, and there's a refrigerator next door, just next to the machine, that has milk and additional, fruit or bags of carrots that if students want an extra piece of fruit or vegetable or milk to go with their meal, they're welcome to take it.
Replenished daily then?
Daily, yep, replenished daily, yep.
And are those prepared in our cafeteria?
Memorial Middle School prepares these, and they're delivered
So the
fresh every morning.
ceiling, all the ceiling requirements
Well,
and all that stuff?
Yeah, these are more of a click-top one
Oh,
right now.
okay. Yeah.
But they're actually the same meal that we've been providing to
Yeah,
them, but the
okay.
accountability piece was a big issue.
That's cool.
Yep. Told you we like technology.
Okay, and the last one we're going to talk about, Bree, is going to talk about our Meatless Mondays.
Yes, so starting in February, we decided to run a Meatless Monday after we did our survey. Did anybody happen to participate in our vegetarian meal survey? So anyway.
Never got it.
Yeah, so we distributed it through email, and somehow it ended up on the Fitchburg Facebook page, so we got a lot of feedback from that as well. We collected data from 100 participants, and we asked questions related to why they needed a vegetarian meal, or if they needed a vegetarian meal, if it was based on lifestyle, cultural, or just plain dietary preference, also asking if it was an applicable need. And we found out that 87% do not even want to try a vegetarian meal, which I thought was kind of shocking. Out of those, about 10% choose to be a vegetarian for dietary reasons or are a vegan. With that, we decided that we wanted to run a Meatless Monday promotion anyway. So to kind of go back with the heart healthy associations with it and kind of pull back from always offering a meat-based entree. So we decided to provide 2 new vegetarian meals in the month of February, and they were such a hit that we continued to put them on the rest of our cycle menu. We have a Indian-style black bean and rice, which we can see in the cups there. We surveyed 175 students throughout all 7 schools, and we went out, myself and our intern, prepared the meals showing the staff how they would need to go through their method of prep, and we brought them into the cafeterias for 2 lunch periods, and we're just like, okay, who wants to try it? We selected 10 people out of each school to conduct a formal survey, and of those, 68% liked the meal, 14 didn't quite like the meal based on consistency, texture, and spice, but I figured that those were good enough odds for me. And yeah, we have done really well with it, and I think that that's really all I have for it. On top is our vegetarian black bean burger, and it is made with black beans, sweet potatoes, panko breadcrumbs, and assorted seasonings. It's a recipe that I have been making at home for a while, and I figured it was simple enough that we could bring it into the school district. I met with sophomores and freshmen actually this past week and asked their opinion on it, and they thought that it was kind of nice to see something different on the line. Some of them are still not on board because there are beans involved, which I've worked in districts where they can't get enough beans, and apparently around here they don't want to see it. And the rice was a recipe that our intern Sarita would make at home for her children, and it's very Indian inspired. So we were trying to bring in some more ethnic meals here at Fitchburg Public Schools. So that's all I have. If anybody has any questions.
Had the burger, it's
good,
really
right?
good.
And I just had steak tonight for supper, so I'm not, an easy person when it comes to that, but it's very tasty.
Yeah, it's great. It
Very
has
moist.
a very similar consistency to a burger, which
A real burger.
a
you mean.
real burger, sir.
You have to come and try one.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Yes.
On Mondays?
Yes.
We have it on Mondays,
So it's on
not
the
every
third
Monday.
Not every Monday.
Not
Not
every
every
Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So I guess my question is more about what the future than kind of the food. What's the plan with the federal proposals?
You know what, I'm
how
not
are
even going to
we-
start thinking about it yet,
Yeah.
because I'm going to drive myself crazy if I start worrying about where all the cuts and stuff are going to be. And School Nutrition Association is going to be really on top of it, keeping us informed. Right now, I mean, who knows? I'm hoping that they'll be concentrating on all the other big cuts, and they'll just say, yeah, whatever, But I just don't know. And, I mean, people are saying CEP is going away. It's anybody's guess what the final cuts are going to be. So, let's keep our fingers crossed, because it's going to be a tough pill to swallow.
Well, just
if
as
that
I look
happens.
at you planning to expand the work that you do throughout the summer, I think there's should any of this actually pass, and it's just going to have such a negative impact on so
Yep.
many people. And I just think I'd just like to keep that line of communication open. I think people maybe watching this would probably think, how does all this get funded, right? Like, how
Yeah.
is this happening? And I think, I don't know. If people,
I mean,
this
there's a
probably
lot of
let's
people
go
that are
into
very scared. We actually had a Sodexo meeting today with a lot of people from Rhode Island, and they were like, oh, the CEP's going away, the Sixth Sense is going away, this is going away, that's going away. We haven't always had those, and we've always had a good program. One of the things that we're always looking for is ways that we can expand our program. We're in talks with Busy Bee Nursery School, so maybe there's something there for us, because their regulations have really increased, so they're almost as bad as us. And for independent little nursery schools, it's tough. I mean, some of the things that they're going to have to do to meet the requirements. So we'll continue to monitor what's going on, and I think we're very aggressive about going out and getting new business. Doing summer feeding in Clinton and looking at Gardner, and people are always asking us to do things. We're looking to pick up the state pool in Clinton. We already have the state pool in Fitchburg. And even stuff during the school year. I mean, dinner programs, where we have a decent-sized dinner program now, and it's still a relatively new program out there in most districts. So just looking for those things really hurts us, though, when after-school stuff gets caught, because that's where we're able to feed the kids dinner is by after-school programs. So, it's really important to us, too, to keep the after-school programs going, so we have the students available to feed.
So families don't feed their kids anymore? Is that what it is? You're talking about dinner?
We've been doing dinner for,
Oh, there's something
years?
distorted about that. I'm sorry. So we're providing.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's, I
Snack.
don't know. I'm sorry.
Snack, yeah.
Yeah. I've got, yes, Andre.
Well, I think, two things. One is, about the funding. That's the way we are with just about everything we're doing. So I guess my encouragement would be like what we do. We continue to plan, and we continue to plan for the very best, whether it's providing good, nutritious food or good programs or whatever. And really, the response is that every taxpayer needs to be lobbying. if there are things that they believe in, whether it be school lunch or after-school programs or Meals on Wheels for the elderly, you pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then whoever is in charge will make decisions based on the information they have or believe in, and if there's no feedback coming from anywhere else, that's how it will be. So, and I think in terms of, feeding our students, the way we approach it is, we're here to try to analyze what it is our kids need to succeed, both physically and academically. The research shows that if students aren't well prepared and if they're not well fed and if they're not receiving nutritious food, then they're not ready to learn. So everything that happens up until that point, we have no control over. All that we have control over is what do we do from where we meet the student, and what do we do to provide the best we can. And if there's an opportunity out there, that's funding that's available. It's available to the federal, through the federal government. Some of it's available through the state. We're not going to let any of it, go anywhere else if it can be, supporting and feeding, Fitchburg students. But I agree. I think, what you're pointing to is a larger philosophical issue, and it's one that we talk about all the time. The schools have taken on many of the roles that not only were the roles of parents, but they were the roles of community organizations. When we didn't have money, and my family was on free and reduced lunch, and when we didn't have enough money or enough food, we went to the church. My parents went to the bazaar. They worked for somehow there were community organizations on every street corner that actually were doing the same thing. Those have pretty much disappeared. Except for luckily us, we've got the pastor here from Crossroads, reaching out and doing stuff for the community. So I think what the government and the state has come in is try to fill that huge gap that's left. And the people we deal with are the vulnerable ones. The students that we deal with made no choices. They weren't involved in any of their family's choices, and they're not involved in any of the political choices that are made, and yet they show up every day, and they need to meet. And, one of the things we've done, Mayor, and I think it's great here and in the city, is we've tried to provide the best we can for students. And, I didn't even know some of this stuff was going on. And you only are, kind of glossing at it. But just the education in terms of reaching out to a parent who had a recipe that was a successful recipe, and now we're including that in our work. It's really great stuff, which is why people are batting down the doors to come to Fitchburg and find out what we're doing and hear what we're doing and replicate it in other communities.
Jill, are you collecting the data on the meatless Mondays and comparing it to the regular Mondays?
Well, it's only one choice, so there's nothing to really,
No, I mean from say you
meals,
served
number of meals.
1,000 meals
Yeah,
on a
as
regular
to how
Monday,
many of them were meatless,
and only
yes.
800 on a meatless.
Well, what would happen, Pete, is it wouldn't necessarily drop the amount of meals we're having because it's only one choice. You've been in our schools, you know how many choices we have. So even at the elementary, we have 5 choices every day. But we will have the data on how many are being served. I mean, we know that, was it Crocker did like 68? McKay did like 68 the first time we served it.
Yeah.
So, and I know the high school, it's going very well, so we'll have that data as to how many. It doesn't impact our participation because there's other choices.
Okay, yeah.
So speaking of Meatless Monday, for many of our students, lunch might be their only well-balanced meal, and we know that, right?
Yep.
What's the nutritional value of our meatless? Is it
It's the
comparable to
same,
protein?
it's got to be. We have very strict regulations.
Okay.
So the protein amount in the meatless is the same as what we would serve a meat entree.
Okay. Same with the starches and all that fun
Yep,
stuff.
that's correct. And we have to meet within a certain calorie and sodium requirement too, and all of the recipes are compliant.
Any other questions? Thank you so much. I just want to know how
No
you...
samples?
No, not tonight, sorry. Get too close. I just wondered how you like this format. because this is something that we thought
Yeah,
was
it's
really
good.
kind
I like the timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was quick, good.
I know. They want me.
It was meatless.
And it was meatless, that's right. No, we don't like the meatless.
So, that's the feeding portion of it, and Pam is here. Pam is our Director of Health Services, and she's here to kind of give you a synopsis of, specifically in the subcommittee, we talked about the kinds of things, some things that were brought up at the last meeting in terms of, are we doing any of this stuff in terms of suicide prevention and drug prevention and all this kind of stuff? And there's a lot to talk about. So Pam, welcome, and
Thank you.
looking forward to hearing.
Thank you. So nice to see you all. Nice to be here this evening. Thank you. And what you have in front of you, I believe, is basically a depiction of what it looks like, but I will go through it. So primarily, the support services of the nursing, the health staff, is to reduce any barriers to achievement. So I started out by breaking it out into tiers and seeing how it dovetails into school climate and culture. So our first tier is we're certainly going to serve all of our students, make sure that they are healthy, well enough to attend school, and what needs to be provided so that they can continually attend on a regular basis. Some of what that looks like is we want to continue to encourage healthy habits, demonstrate, educate them in certain ways if that needs to be done, talk about illnesses, disease prevention, how to stay healthy, prevent illnesses, and that could be through certain things like hand washing, cough and sneeze etiquette. We go over, say they have an ailment, we discuss their eating habits, their hydration habits, what would be beneficial for them, how to dress properly for weather, talk about sleeping habits, what's most preferable for them and beneficial for their overall health and certainly their learning readiness. The other thing that we do, and certainly it's mandated, however, it's very important, is to do the different screenings. And these would include our vision hearing, our body mass index, our postural screenings, and the newest would be our screening, brief intervention, and referral for treatment as needed. One of the particulars that came up in some of the testing and things like that, but it's always been there, but kind of rose a little bit under the vision was the colorblind testing. And did that, was there any part of that that would affect, say, a computerized online learning where there were particular colors that would be choices and things like that? So we're always looking to see what's out there, what do our students need, and how do we survey for that? So Tier 2 gets into some of the students that have additional health needs. Some of the examples would be those that come with histories of asthma, diabetes, seizures, concussions, and certainly social emotional needs. And again, this is another layered approach. What else do you need? How do we work with yourselves, families, community members to provide you what you need and continue to educate them and prepare them? And then the third tier is in addition, and those could be certain check-ins, collaborations, maybe that nurse is that connected individual, that resource for them. How do they work together with guidance and counseling? What are the parts from the medical side on things like IEPs, 504 plans, health care plans? How do we work with our other partners in the community? So with that said, we want to continue to support the social emotional learning, health and safety, increase overall school attendance, and their learning readiness. There is a chart that shows a reflection of return to class rates. And what that is that what we've stated, the students come, they're ready to attend, they're able to attend, but as they're attending, are they having their needs met, and are they able to not only attend school, but attend classes and be prepared to learn the lessons that need to be learned? So that's some of the things that are done. Some of the initiatives are included is Fitchburg is one of the first school districts that's part of the Mass Immunization Information System. And that means that we are connected to the state system so that the nurses can look at a student coming in to see, do they have the immunizations they need? Maybe they weren't provided in a hard copy document, but they can go on and access and make sure that they can see where that student is at, work with the families, work with the community members. So that's something that's really been instrumental, beneficial, and it's certainly allowed students to safely attend school. We definitely do data reporting. We report monthly. We report annually on, different things. Attendance certainly is one of them. Others might be the healthcare needs. We look to distribute resources accordingly throughout the schools to make sure that the students have what they need, that we have a collaborative working group within the schools. And moving along, we have different engagement strategies to school climate. We've been a part of the Safe Routes for Schools for many years. 2 schools participate particularly in the Walking Wednesdays, and 2 other schools participate in the Trucking Thursdays, which is kind of cute little names that are put to the activities that are done. It involves the students, it can involve their parents, community members, police. So it's a wonderful, enjoyable getting them ready for learning, starting the day off right. We certainly are very instrumental in participating and hosting different health fairs at all the different levels. Sometimes, like at the high school, they're particularly student-based, and other times they're family-based, and we try to be a part of that and expand their education, allow them to interact and see how we interact with our community members as well. Multiple health and wellness education, including depression awareness, suicide prevention. We don't want our students to be or families grappling with something and us never to address it, identify it, work with them on it, because it's part of their overall well-being. So some of the programs that go on are the Lifelines program, the Break Free from Depression, and the SOS program. And certainly we try to give all the information to inform the families on what the needs are and continue to discuss and work with the students. We partner with multiple groups. Mount Wachusett Community College is one of those, and we've partnered with them on their Project Healthcare, and we're looking to expand that to a certified nursing assistant program. There's many clubs that are health associated. Some of those listed would be Play 60, Girls on the Run, the HOSA, Health Occupation Students of America, and the Student Wellness Assistant Team, and that is through the SHINE initiative. So I brought an example of what the HOSA students do. In this, so they sponsor different events, recognition, and all. So for this month, it is Colorectal Cancer Month, and what they put together was basically a little 2-part. Here's the informational flyer, what it looks like. So what would an adult, how would this relate to adults? What do they need to do? And then on the flip side, other facts that they might need to know. And when working with the students, which I love to work with the students, we talk about, what's the education that has to get out there? Again, what are the supporting factors? And then how can they work towards prevention? So how do they educate their peers and work with their peers to prevent these things from something that they're dealing with later on in life? Additional collaborations, we certainly collaborate with the Massachusetts Department of Public Health with different grant initiatives that helps us also connect with other entities such as the UMass programs. So they're great partners as far as our asthma, diabetes, our sports medicine. I've talked about the SHINE initiative with their mental health and wellness initiatives, our first responders, our police, fire, ambulance. Today, for the state, I was asked to go down and do an emergency preparedness presentation, so that went well today. But those are the different ways that we get the message out and work with others. We work with the UMass Nutrition Extension Program, our local partners, our Luck and Mock. Some of our new collaboratives have been the BRIGHT program. So this is based on re-entry to school. So students might be out for different things. It might be a concussion. It might be a hospitalization of some sort. So there's a time lapse in their learning because of their conditions. So how do we welcome them back to school and integrate them slowly, and so that they can be back and stay back and not have this time where they're struggling back and forth to connect? So that's in progress right now. We were sought out by Emerson in their concussion program. We're asked to participate in that, and that's up and coming along with myself and the athletic director. And there's 3 parts to that. So it's the initial impact testing, which is the computerized testing, but then the other parts with that is a balance testing that they do, and then further an eye movement testing. So they'll screen the students ahead of time. Obviously the parents, give permission to participate in this. And then that's a general baseline marker so that if a child, and it doesn't matter if you're just, interested in sports, it's throughout. If you're band, after school activities, whatever, from middle and high school, if this is something that interests you and you'd like that, baseline, if it ever happens, then certainly, that's something that we're looking to partner with as well. We're speaking with Health Alliance. We've worked with them in many aspects, but one of the going forward is to discuss with them our school-based health center and what that might look like together, and then the Mount Wachusett Community College CHC dental program offerings that we have for our students. Another additional support would be under the Every Student Succeeds Act and what that looks like in Massachusetts. They have focuses on improving academic and developmental outcomes. Certainly, that's our focus as well. School readiness initiatives, high quality care services with the community. Certainly, that's our focus in partnering as well. So, going forward, the reflections, and I'll just read. The Fitchburg Public School nurses utilize many strategies to address overall health outcomes and support educational achievement. They work together with school staff, parents, and community to enhance and protect the health of children and adolescents. The positive impacts continue to grow throughout health education, specific health initiatives, and connected relationship building. The school nurses look to improve their practices, strategies, and efforts with ongoing innovative healthcare delivery. And thank you all.
Questions?
So,
Yes.
Pam, I have 3 questions.
Okay.
So maybe if I just list them, then they'll get out of my brain. But I'd like to talk about that CNA program. And then the Girls on the Run, I know that nurses are helping to coach.
Correct.
But they don't have that in every school.
No.
And, is there a way that we could kind of make that happen, that it could be in every school? Because I think it's so great. But then my other question, so the third one, is there any kind of commensurate program for boys that might not be involved in sports but need that same kind of healthy messaging that we're getting very good at providing for girls? And so CNA, Girls on the Run in every school, any commensurate boy training.
Okay. So I'd actually have to go and have you speak with the people that do the Girls on the Run. I'm aware of it, but I'm not,
Okay.
I participated enough, know if there's other programs, know why it's in some places versus others. So I guess I defer
Okay.
to those individuals. And I do agree with you. It's a wonderful program. I would like to see it complement as well, and I would like to see it expanded.
Yeah.
So as far as the CNA program, this is something that is, we've had success with the healthcare program that's been running, and this is something else that Mount Wachusett does with other areas. So they approached us and thought, do you think this would be, there'd be a population that would be interested in this, and would it be worth pursuing? And our answer was yes.
Yeah,
we would be very
that's
pleased
great.
to look into that, pursue it, and that's what we're doing. We're in the process of doing that.
Is that like a Chapter 74 thing, or is that just a separate kind of thing?
It's. I know it's been. I've
the
heard
one at
Chapter
the high
74
school?
around it, but excuse me.
It would be under the new CTE program. It's one of the ones we're investigating as part of the CTE program.
Great. That's great.
Yeah.
So is
I
that
didn't know if it
happening?
No,
No.
Okay.
all the prep work is going
Okay.
on in terms of preparing it, looking at what we'd have to do, who we would partner with, all of that.
Okay. And then,
It's planning.
okay, and then do you know, are there programs that are being offered for boys in self-esteem or boys in healthy relationships, or?
So I know that Josie DeLea, our guidance counselor, has been very instrumental with a lot of those programs. So yes, they have been in place. I'm not sure, what exactly is in place presently, but yes, whenever there's a need, she does have the community partners that she partners with and provides those programs.
Has there been education provided on healthy relationships? I know in our district we had the Middlesex Partnership for Youth, right, and they came in and did healthy relationship.
We've had speakers at the high school,
Mm-hmm.
probably going all the way back to William Kellebrew, who came and spoke about that, and then they did now this is specifically domestic violence,
Right.
but they did the one with the
The dress, yeah,
that.
right.
So there are a number of things like that that go on all the time.
Yeah.
Not only at the high school, but at both middle schools.
And is it the kind of thing where it just happens to be somebody who really wants to put a plan together, or is that just like every year we're going to really make sure, or every other year we're going to really make sure we address that? Do you?
I think it's probably both, to be honest with you. I think it's, if in fact they're, the counselors are seeing that that's a need, then absolutely they'll get behind it. But otherwise, I think that, obviously it's beneficial. It's important to share. And I know that that's part of the health curriculum as well, absolutely addressed in the health
So
class.
sometimes it comes out of the health curriculum, and then says, oh, let's use this and bring in a speaker or something like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about the substance abuse awareness and prevention programs that are offered in the schools?
Sure. So again, it's something that under the Michigan model is part of the curriculum. And of course, it looks different at different levels, So at an elementary level, it's going to be about, keeping your body safe, your awareness, that type of thing. At the middle school, they're going to get a little bit further talking about it, just expanding, again, on the safety aspect, but then, various curriculums. So some of the curriculum, they could be adjunct to that, would come from the Bureau of Substance Abuse, and then the other would come from the National Institute of Health. And it's little, probably pamphlets and things like that that talk about, the facts behind it, what the teen would want to know, questions that they might have. So it's a kind of a Q&A type of format that would be supportive, and you could have a discussion on that. And then again, at the high school level, that's similar.
I could make available. We had this was the topic of the student support meeting today, and there's just this incredible list of programs and services that your department has really gathered here, and I can make that available to.
That'd be great. Thanks, Jean.
Other questions?
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam.
Thanks.
Feeling healthier as the night
Oh,
goes
there we
on,
go.
between the food and everything else. So there's just one item that's going to be an item that you need to vote on, and that is I'm your representative to FLAC, and we're adding a new school district to the collaborative, and that is North Middlesex. So everyone received the wording for that in your packet, and there's an action item on the agenda that you need to vote on. The next, any questions on that? The next thing is the school calendar. So what you have is a complete packet of everything related to this change. So as you know, we're up to 8 days of snow, and that pushed us into the Monday of the last week of June. So we would have been into June 26th on the Monday. As I looked at that, the idea of recouping any kind of academic time was really important. So I spoke to the president of the union and said, what are your thoughts about my surveying the staff about having school on Good Friday, which is now a non-school day? He said, I've already gotten questions about that. What are we doing? Is there anything we can do? And I said, okay, I'll send out the survey. So I sent out the survey to staff and to parents in English and Spanish, and you can see the results from the parent and guardian response. 70% are in favor, 30% are not. From the staff, 92% are in favor, and 8% are not. So in order to implement this, I've given you a packet of the drafts that I've put together, which would be a communication, especially to the employees, but there would be a similar communication that would go home to parents. For the employees, because it'll be a half day, we're using exactly the same system that we used during the ice storm, that if there was an ice and a half a day, there was an opportunity to recoup that work in professional development, it's 90 minutes. So there's a form in there that all staff members will get, and they'll work with their principals on that. And then the last piece that you have is an attachment of what the new calendar would look like, because the calendar is set by the school committee. So if I'm going to change the calendar, I can't do that unilaterally. I have to bring it to you. So this calendar now represents Good Friday as being a school day. And in my talks with the union, they also asked if we could begin the conversation, or at some point have the school committee talk about the fact that should we just move to a school day for Good Friday? Most of the surrounding districts actually no longer. One superintendent sent out a survey which tells me that this is a topic of conversation everywhere. What are you doing? And most school districts are no longer having Good Friday as a no-school day. For some of them, it's because the question is, why is that a holiday, but my Jewish holiday or my other holiday is not recognized, and I have to use a personal day? Not for discussion or decision tonight, but I'm just putting it out there that the association is saying, would you consider that? So we might revisit it in terms of redoing next year's calendar and adjusting the one day, or you could decide to just put it off for a year. So if, in fact, you approve this, then I will do a communication to all of the staff and all of the parents, and Good Friday will be a half day of school. And that moves us, that if there are no more snow days, we now would end the school year on Friday, June 23rd. Any questions?
Good.
Okay. School choice. There are two things that you can do regarding to school choice. In May, and it's on your agenda for May, you actually decide, are we a school choice district and which grades? The second thing that you can do is, during the school year, if your enrollment is starting to be at the maximum that you would like it at a particular grade, you can actually opt out of school choice by school or by grade level. So what you have here, and we've been looking at the numbers in our elementary schools, so what I'm asking you to do is to close school choice for grades K, 1, and 2 due to the class size right now. And if you, after your discussion, if you decide that you think you can support that, there's an action item on your agenda. And
so you return to it in September?
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, in May. So right now, we're saying for this school year, we want to close it in those grades till the end of the year. Right. In May, you take a vote, a formal vote that goes to the Department of Ed for September of the following year. Right. So it's two separate actions. One is a stopgap. The other one is your official action saying we're a school choice district. Okay. And then the last piece is simply a grant, and it's a recommended grant to accept. It's the partnership grant, the mathematics grant for $103,000.
Okay. Just to continue with the agenda, public comment. I'm offering. Do you want to make public comment? No. He's the only member of the public who's here tonight, other than, of course, yes, Elizabeth Dobbins from the Sentinel Enterprise. So seeing that, we'll move on. So we've done the superintendent's reports. We need a vote on these action items, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Want to bundle them?
Sounds good.
17-826 up through and including 17-832. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I have one public service announcement, ladies and gentlemen, and certainly the viewing public at home. This is regarding Civic Days. Our Easter Bunny Breakfast scheduled for April 8th at the Senior Center, 8 a.m. to 10:30. And then immediately following that at 10:30 is the Easter egg hunt at Monument Park, right across the street. That starts at 10:30. And our recreation director, Mr. Nate LaRose, is on board and ramping up for that big day.
And the Easter Bunny has been called? and
I
is
believe,
available?
I believe
Pictures.
E-Bunny
I
has
know
been
date's
booked.
important, but the
The
Easter
Easter
Bunny.
Bunny knows all,
Right,
Superintendent.
so, all right. Motion to adjourn. Motion made second.
Second.
Motion made second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.